Mississippi Delta, a land of cotton fields and sweltering heat, birthed a legend steeped in blues and shadowed by the devil's touch. Robert Johnson, a name whispered in awe and fear, a musician whose talent transcended earthly explanation. They say he made a pact, a bargain struck at the crossroads under a moonless sky. His soul traded for mastery of the guitar, a price paid in the currency of eternal damnation. The crossroads, a place where worlds collide, where the veil between the living and the dead grows thin. It was there, they say, that Johnson met a shadowy figure, a being of darkness with eyes that burned like hellfire. The devil offered him a gift, a chance to become the greatest bluesman the world had ever known. All he asked in return was Johnson's immortal soul. The young musician, consumed by ambition, agreed to the devil's terms. His fingers, once clumsy and unsure, now danced across the guitar strings with supernatural dexterity. Notes, imbued with the raw emotion of the Delta blues, poured forth, captivating all who heard them. Johnson's music, a fusion of earthly sorrow and otherworldly power, became a testament to his pact, a chilling reminder of the price of his newfound talent. He sang of love and loss, of pain and redemption, his voice carrying the weight of 1,000 lifetimes. His songs, filled with cryptic lyrics and haunting melodies, hinted at the darkness that consumed him, the ever-present shadow of his infernal bargain. His fame spread like wildfire, his music echoing through the juke joints and dance halls of the Delta. But with each performance, the devil's grip tightened, drawing him closer to his inevitable fate. They say Johnson's music carried a curse, a chilling reminder of the pact he had made. Those who listen too closely, who delve too deeply into the darkness of his blues, risk being consumed by the same infernal power that fueled his talent. And then, one fateful night, as Johnson played his final song, the devil came to collect his due. The 100th monkey effect is a chilling phenomenon that haunts the minds of those who dare explore the boundaries between the known and the unknown. It begins with a seemingly innocent discovery. A monkey on a remote island learns a new behaviour, perhaps washing food in the ocean before eating it. At first, it's a solitary act, unremarkable, until something terrifying happens. As more monkeys observe this behaviour, they too adopt it, until one day a mysterious threshold is crossed. When the number of monkeys practicing the behaviour reaches a certain point, around 100, the change begins to spread, not just among the monkeys on that island, but across the entire archipelago. It's as if an invisible thread links them all, transmitting the new behaviour without explanation, defying logic and reaching groups that have never encountered one another. But that's not all. The 100th monkey effect goes deeper, darker. Those who study it whisper that once this critical mass is reached, the new idea or behaviour doesn't just spread, it infects the very consciousness of the entire species. The behaviour becomes universal, and with it, something more ominous. Some claim that this event taps into a collective mind, an eerie hive consciousness, where knowledge, ideas, and even emotions can spread without direct contact. What if the effect isn't just for monkeys? What if it could extend beyond animals? What if once a critical number of minds, humans even, align in thought, the ripple effects could once awakened, could turn its power against us. On the windswept shores of Cape Henlopen State Park, where the Atlantic whispers ancient secrets to the rugged cliffs, there prowls an eerie phenomenon known as the corpse light. To the untrained eye, it might appear a beacon of safety, a lighthouse guiding weary travellers home. But to those familiar with its cursed history, it is a harbinger of doom, a deceptive glow that leads only to despair and death. The legend of the corpse light began in the fog-laden nights of the 18th century, a time when smugglers and pirates frequented these waters, weaving through the treacherous shoals and hidden reefs. It is said that one fateful night, a band of smugglers, heavy with illicit cargo, spied a light gleaming through the dense fog. Believing it to be the lighthouse, they steered their vessel towards it, hearts light with relief. But as they drew closer, the light mysteriously vanished, leaving them to the merciless embrace of the rocks. The ship was shattered, swallowed by the hungry sea, and all hands were lost to the depths. From that night on, the corpse light appeared sporadically, always to unsuspecting sailors, its ghostly glow a false promise of safety. Tales spread of a spectral lantern held aloft by a shadowy figure clad in the tattered remnants of colonial garb, doomed to forever reenact his treachery. Some whispered that he was the spirit of a lighthouse keeper who had conspired with pirates, others that he was a wronged sailor, seeking vengeance against those who sailed these cursed waters. Local folklore insists that to see the corpse light is an omen of impending disaster. Fishermen refuse to set sail if the light is seen, and sailors mutter prayers when passing the cape after dusk. It's not just the beacon that terrifies them, but the sudden cold that seeps into the bones at its sighting, and the inexplicable malaise that descends upon the beholder. On stormy nights, when the thunder rolls and lightning illuminates the sea, the corpse light dances across the waves, elusive and taunting. Some brave souls have tried to follow it, to uncover its origins or end its spectral wanderings. Yet none have succeeded, and many have not returned, their fates whispered in hushed tones in the local taverns. The corpse light remains one of the most chilling legends of Cape Henlopen, a reminder of the sea's dark power to enchant and ensnare. It continues to haunt the coastline, a phantom lighthouse that guides not to safe harbour, but to a watery grave, its mournful light a testament to the souls it has claimed. In the heart of downtown Augusta, Georgia, stands a relic from a forgotten time. A pillar, now weathered and decaying, but still towering ominously over the abandoned space where a bustling farmer's market once thrived. Known as the Haunted Pillar, it has long been a source of fear and unease for those who live nearby. The legend of the Haunted Pillar dates back many years, when the farmer's market at 5th and Broad Streets was a lively hub of trade and community. But something dark lingered there, something that would forever tie the pillar to tragedy. Some say the market was built on cursed land, a place steeped in forgotten rituals and hidden sorrow. Others whisper that the pillar was not always just stone, but a marker for something far darker, an object of sacrifice, or a binding spell that trapped spirits. When the market was abandoned, the pillar was the only thing left standing, silent, unmoving, and strange. Over the years, stories began to circulate. People claimed that at night they would see flickering lights near the pillar, or hear hushed voices carried by the wind. Those who ventured too close often reported a sense of suffocating dread, as if the air itself were heavy with the presence of something malevolent. Some even spoke of seeing figures, a shadowed form standing motionless by the pillar, watching passers-by with hollow eyes. But the true terror came from those who dared touch the pillar. Several individuals have disappeared after doing so, their fates unknown, leaving behind only whispers of their names. Locals believe the pillar is cursed, an unholy sentinel that guards its dark secrets, waiting for the next soul foolish enough to test its power. Now, the pillar stands alone, a twisted monument to something that should never be disturbed, and those who walk near it at night often feel a cold, unsettling presence, like something is watching, waiting for them to make a mistake. Some say the haunted pillar is simply a relic of the past. Others know better, and they avoid it, never daring to get too close. In the quiet town of Frederica, Delaware, there's a chilling legend that haunts the streets every Halloween night. It is the story of the hanging man, a figure that appears under the dim glow of the full moon, swinging silently from the branches of a tree along a desolate stretch of road. Years ago, a 42-year-old woman, driven by despair, took her own life in the dead of night, hanging herself from a tree by the roadside. Her body was found the next morning, cold and lifeless, her face twisted in a final, agonizing expression. But that should have been the end of the story. It wasn't. The first Halloween after her death, strange things began to happen. Drivers travelling along that stretch of road reported seeing a figure hanging from the tree, a silhouette swinging gently in the breeze, though no one had ever tied a rope there. But when they stopped to investigate, no body could be found. As the years went on, the sightings grew more frequent. Locals would whisper of a shadowy figure, always at midnight, hanging from the same tree, her body swaying as though caught in an invisible wind. But that's not the worst part. There are those who claim that if you stop your car near the tree on Halloween night and stare long enough, you can see the woman's face, twisted, pale, and filled with sorrow. Some say she will call out to you, pleading for help, her voice barely a whisper in the wind. And some believe that if you listen too long, if you dare to look too deep, you'll hear her whisper your name, just before the tree's shadow reaches out to claim you. Hidden within the eerie expanse of Maple Hill Park in Huntsville, Alabama, lies a playground that few dare to visit after dark. Known as the Dead Children's Playground, it sits in the shadow of Maple Hill Cemetery, where countless lives were lost during the brutal Spanish flu pandemic of 1918. Many of these were children, tiny edges of the cemetery, just steps away from the playground, where swings now creak and echo through the night. As dusk falls, a haunting atmosphere descends upon the playground. Locals warn that the children who perished here never truly left. Strange occurrences have been reported for years. Swings move on their own, the rusted chains rattling as if gripped by invisible hands. In the sand beneath the slide, visitors find tiny footprints that appear suddenly and disappear just as mysteriously. Some who pass by in the evening hours have claimed to hear faint giggles or the distant sound of children calling out, voices carried on an unsettling breeze that seems to chill the very air around it. Witnesses describe seeing shadowy figures darting between the playground equipment, flickering in and out of sight like fading memories. A few brave souls have even claimed to catch glimpses of ghostly children, their pale forms just visible in the moonlight, with hollow, haunting eyes fixed on the swings. Others report feeling an icy touch on their shoulders or a tug at their clothing, as if tiny hands were reaching out, desperate to play just once more. Despite the renovations and new equipment, the playground remains a place haunted by sorrow and loss, as if the spirits of the past refuse to let go. It's said that the restless souls of these children are bound to this place, forever drawn to the playground they never had the chance to truly enjoy in life. Visitors leave trinkets, small toys and flowers by the swings, hoping to soothe the spirits that linger. For those who know the tale, the Dead Children's Playground is not merely a place for children's laughter, but a portal to something darker. A reminder that some places are scarred by history, with memories and spirits that will not fade, even as time moves on. In the heart of ancient folklore, there exists a creature born from the earth itself, a hulking figure of clay and stone, shaped by human hands, but driven by dark, unnatural forces. This creature is known as the Golem, and its legend has haunted the corners of Eastern Europe for centuries. The Golem is not a creature of grace. It is slow, lumbering, and awkward in its movements, a giant made of lifeless matter, animated only by the dark magic that gives it form. Its body is a rough, uneven mass of clay or rock, patched together with crude seams, and its face is blank, expressionless, an unfeeling mask devoid of humanity. Some say it was created to serve its master, a protector summoned from the earth itself to do his bidding. Others whisper that the Golem was born from desperation, created by a rabbi or wizard to avenge wrongs too terrible to bear. In modern Hebrew, the word Golem translates to cocoon, but it also carries darker meanings: fool, silly, or stupid. And indeed, the Golem is often described as lacking in intelligence, nothing more than a clumsy tool of destruction, incapable of independent thought or action. But this is where the terror begins, because while the Golem is a mindless servant, it is also a force of nature, a brute, unstoppable and powerful, with strength far beyond that of any human. Once unleashed, it will follow its master's commands without question, no matter how horrific. And yet, when those commands are left unclear or unrestrained, the creature can become a terror in its own right, wreaking havoc in its mindless pursuit of tasks it cannot understand. The Golem is said to be bound by a single, fragile command, the inscription of a word, often placed on a piece of parchment and placed inside its mouth. Without this word, the creature is a blank slate, mindless and deadly, its power unchecked. In the ancient stories, there were whispers of golems running amok, villages, crushing anyone who crossed their path, all because their creators failed to control them. And so, the golem is a warning, a tale of what happens when humanity meddles too far with the natural order, summoning forces they cannot control. Some say the golem still walks the earth, waiting for a master to breathe life back into its stone heart. But be careful, if the golem ever awakens again, it will not stop, no matter how clumsy or foolish its creators may have been. In the dark, frozen winter of February 1855, the people of East and South Devon awoke to a scene that would haunt them for years. As dawn broke, a trail of strange, unearthly footprints marred the fresh snow, weaving through the landscape with an unnatural precision. These prints, soon to be called the Devil's Footprints, left a mark of terror and mystery across Devon, as villagers whispered tales of the devil himself stalking their lands. The footprints were unlike anything seen before. They stretched in a single line, each print spaced with eerie regularity, each one an unmistakable hoof shape, cloven and pointed, as if made by a creature far from this world. Stranger still, the prints were measured precisely 8 inches apart, suggesting a creature that moved with unerring speed and purpose. They crossed through fields, over rivers, and even appeared on rooftops, ignoring natural obstacles as if they were nothing. No walls, hedges, or even snow-covered thatched roofs hindered the path of these prints. It was as though something had passed through Devon, defying the laws of nature and mocking human understanding. The villagers were gripped by fear. Some claimed it was a demon, or perhaps even Satan himself, paying a visit to remind them of his presence. Priests were called to bless homes, while locals huddled around fires, hoping that warmth and prayer might keep the dark force at bay. Those who dared to follow the footprints were led through twisted paths, only to find themselves back where they started, as if the creature had moved in circles, toying with its pursuers. Sightings of strange, shadowy figures spread rapidly. A farmer reported hearing faint, mocking laughter as he walked alone through the woods one night, his eyes catching a fleeting glimpse of a dark form in the trees. Another villager swore that she saw a pair of glowing red eyes watching from her window, disappearing only when she crossed herself and muttered a prayer. Tales like these fueled the belief that the devil's footprints were not just a physical presence, but a sign of something deeply sinister lurking just beyond sight. The phenomenon lasted for a single, harrowing night, the footprints stretching for miles before they abruptly vanished as mysteriously as they had appeared. In the days that followed, the snow melted and the tracks faded into legend, yet the fear remained. People spoke of it in hushed tones, glancing over their shoulders, as if expecting the devil to return, his footprints renewed in fresh snow. To this day, no one has explained the devil's footprints. Were they a prank, a trick of nature, or something far darker, a message from the underworld itself? The villagers of Devon may never know, but one thing is certain. On cold, moonlit nights, when the winter's silence deepens, on the eerie evening of September the 20th, 1965, in the quiet seaside town of Felixstowe, England, a terrifying event unfolded, one that would become known as the legend of the Felixstowe fire demon. Witnesses claimed to have seen something unnatural that night, an encounter so horrifying town's memory for years to come. It began with strange lights in the sky. Around midnight, residents reported seeing glowing red and orange orbs floating above the coastline, moving with unnatural speed and precision. These lights were unlike any aircraft known at the time, pulsing with a fiery intensity that seemed almost alive. But it wasn't the lights that struck fear into the hearts of Felixstowe's residents. It was what came next. A young couple, drawn by the unusual lights, ventured closer to the shore. As they approached, a figure emerged from the darkness, illuminated by the fiery glow. They described it as a tall, humanoid being, yet something was horribly wrong. The creature's body seemed to shimmer with a heat wave-like distortion, as though it was surrounded by invisible flames. Its eyes were fiery embers, burning with a malevolent red glow that seemed to pierce straight into their souls. The couple stood frozen as the entity approached, its movements slow and deliberate, almost predatory. A faint crackling sound, like the hiss of burning coals, filled the air, and the air around them grew stiflingly hot. The creature stretched out a long, claw-like hand, and in that moment, the couple fled, overwhelmed by an overwhelming sense of dread. They ran through the darkened streets, their minds reeling from what they'd just encountered. Other townspeople reported feeling an inexplicable heat that night, even inside their homes, as if the fire demon had cast a spell of warmth across the entire town. Some claimed that the creature had left scorched footprints along the beach, deep impressions jarred into the sand that no waves could wash away. But by morning, there was no trace of the creature, only the lingering terror of its fiery gaze and the charred marks left in its wake. Local authorities dismissed the event, attributing the lights to atmospheric phenomena and the creature to the overactive imaginations of frightened witnesses. But those who saw the Felixstowe fire demon knew the truth. A being from another world, forged in fire, had stepped into their world, leaving a scar in Felixstowe's memory that would never fade. Today, the legend of the Felixstowe fire demon endures, a chilling reminder that some mysteries defy explanation. On stormy nights, when the sea crashes against the shore, residents sometimes claim to see a fiery glow flickering in the distance, as if the fire demon still haunts the coast, waiting to emerge from the shadows once again. In the still, silent nights of Fresno, California, an unsettling legend stalks the imagination of locals, the Fresno night crawlers. First captured on CCTV footage, these strange, otherworldly creatures have haunted the town's darkened streets, their appearance as bizarre as it is terrifying. Described as white, elongated beings with impossibly long legs and tiny featureless torsos, they move with an eerie, almost hypnotic gait, as if gliding rather than walking. To many, they resemble nothing more than disembodied, ghostly pairs of trousers, yet their unsettling presence is anything but laughable. The first sighting came from a homeowner who, curious about strange noises outside, reviewed their security footage. What they saw left them speechless. Two pale figures emerging from the shadows, their legs stretched unnaturally tall, each step slow and deliberate, almost as if they were floating. The smaller of the two trailed behind, its movement unnervingly synchronized with the larger one. As they vanished into the night, the homeowner was left with a chilling realization. Whatever these beings were, they were not human. The footage quickly spread, drawing the attention of cryptid enthusiasts and skeptics alike. Some claimed the night crawlers were extraterrestrial visitors, their strange forms adapted to a planet with gravity unlike Earth's. Others whispered that they were spirits, ancient guardians tied to the land, warning of some impending doom. Still, others feared they were harbingers of something far darker, beings from another dimension, crossing into our world for reasons unknown. The sightings didn't stop. Reports emerged of people spotting the night crawlers in nearby woods, gliding silently among the trees, their spindly forms illuminated by the pale light of the moon. Hikers described the forest growing unnaturally quiet, the air thick with unease, as if the creatures were aware of their presence and watching from just out of sight. Some who encountered them spoke of an overwhelming dread, a primal fear that gripped their hearts and left them paralysed. Locals now warn against wandering too far into the dark Fresno woods, especially at night. Those who've ventured too close to where the night crawlers have been seen report strange phenomena, unexplainable static on devices, sudden cold spots, and faint whispering sounds that seem to follow them home. To this day, no one knows what the Fresno night crawlers are or what they want. Skeptics dismiss them as clever hoaxes or optical illusions, but those who've seen the footage or encountered them firsthand tell a different story. They believe the night crawlers are watching, observing humanity with motives shrouded in mystery. Their slow, silent steps are warning to stay away. The Fresno night crawlers remain one of the most bizarre and chilling cryptid tales in modern folklore, a reminder that some things move through the shadows of our world, unnoticed until they choose to reveal themselves, leaving nothing but fear in their wake. In the shadowy realm of Latin American folklore, a sinister whisper of the cucuy stirs unease during the darkest hours. Known as the malevolent counterpart to the benign boogeyman of other cultures, the cucuy is a creature of nightmares, thriving on the fears of both the young and old. This ghostly monster is no mere invention to coax children into obedience, but a terrifying spectre believed to lurk in the shadows of the night, waiting to snatch away those who dare defy the veil of night stillness. The legend of the cucuy has been passed down through generations, a chilling narrative that varies slightly from region to region, but maintains its core essence. The cucuy is a shapeless, shadowy figure, often depicted as a small, hunched being with glowing red eyes that peers through the darkness. It hides in closets, under beds, or in the dense foliage near homes, emerging only when the moon is but a faint glow against the black sky. Parents whisper tales of the cucuy to their children, warning them not to wander alone at night. The cucuy, they say, preys on the disobedient and the curious, those children who refuse to sleep when the night deepens, or who venture outside to explore the seductive mysteries of the dark. It is said that once the cucuy sets its sights on you, escape is nearly impossible. Its presence is always cloaked in the rustling of leaves or the soft creaks of a settling house, its breath a cold gust foretelling doom. Elders in the community speak of their own fearful encounters, of nights filled with inexplicable cold drafts and fleeting shadows seen from the corners of their eyes. They recount stories of friends long gone, spirited away by the cucuy, leaving behind nothing but a chilling silence and an unspoken warning to heed the boundaries set by the light. Some tales take a more gruesome turn, describing how the cucuy feeds on fear, drawing closer with each terrified heartbeat. The more you fear, the stronger it becomes. Its whisper, a sound like the dragging of chains in the depths of the unseen. Those who listen closely on windy nights might still hear the faint cries of its victims, a permanent echo of their eternal torment. To confront the cucuy is to face an ancient and relentless evil, a reminder of the dark corners of the world where old spirits refuse to be forgotten. It is a creature born from the darkness of the human psyche, a manifestation of the terror of the unknown and the unseen. In the lore of Latin America, the kukui remains a potent symbol of the night's darkest reach, a spectre forever waiting in the shadowy fringes of fear. We dive into the unsettling tale of the colander lie detector, a strange and eerie urban legend. Settle in, relax, and let this mysterious story guide you gently into sleep. An eerie urban legend from the 1960s speaks of a chilling interrogation method used by police or army investigators. It began with a crude yet unsettling setup. A colander, typically used for straining pasta, repurposed into a nightmarish piece of equipment. The investigators would place this everyday kitchen item onto the head of a suspect, but its sinister transformation didn't end there. Wires connected the colander to a photocopier, creating the illusion of advanced technology. In a dimly lit interrogation room, the suspect would sit nervously as the investigators loomed over them, watching intently. The tension was palpable, the walls closing in as the suspect was bombarded with questions. The investigators' eyes would dart back and forth between the suspect and the machine, waiting for the first crack in their story. Each time the suspect answered, the photocopier would whir to life, spitting out a fresh sheet of paper. The sound of its mechanical churning filled the room, amplifying the sense of dread. If the answer was deemed acceptable, the machine remained silent, offering a brief respite. But if the investigators found the response suspicious or dishonest, the copier would hiss and clunk, printing a single sheet with a damning message. "He's lying." The effect was immediate. Suspects, already frazzled and scared, would crumble under the pressure of the so-called lie detector, convinced that the colander was exposing their every falsehood. They couldn't know that it was all a cruel trick. The investigators manipulated the machine, not through science or technology, but through psychological warfare. The power of suggestion turned the colander and photocopier into terrifying tools, blurring the line between reality and fiction. Some say the interrogators used this method for years, laughing behind closed doors at how easily their victims were broken by the sight of a kitchen utensil on their head. But as with any legend, the line between truth and myth is thin. Stories began to circulate of suspects who couldn't handle the pressure, of minds unravelling as they became trapped in a game where the stakes felt life or death. Whispers of the colander lie detector persist, and while it's easy to dismiss it as a bizarre tale from the past, one can't help but wonder if, somewhere in a dark corner of the world, the machine is still being used, waiting to catch its next victim in its web of fear and deception. In the eerie world of haunted relics, few objects instill as much dread as the Dybbuk box, a small, unassuming wine cabinet steeped in sinister legend. Originating from Jewish folklore, a Dybbuk is a restless, malicious spirit believed to cling to objects or people, feeding off their misery and fear. The Dybbuk box is said to contain just such a spirit, bound within its wooden walls, waiting for the next unfortunate soul to open it. The box first gained infamy when it surfaced in an online auction, accompanied by the chilling story of its previous owner, who claimed his life was plagued with misfortunes and nightmarish experiences after acquiring it. According to the tale, the box was originally bought by a young man at an estate sale. When he opened it, he found strange items inside: locks of hair, a small goblet, a candlestick, and engraved Hebrew inscriptions. But it wasn't the items inside that terrified him. It was what followed. entered his home, strange occurrences began. Foul odours of decaying flowers and ammonia filled the air. Shadowy figures appeared in his periphery, and the eerie sound of faint whispers echoed through the night. Soon he began having violent, unexplainable nightmares of an old, hateful woman lurking at the edge of his bed, her eyes burning with malice. Each morning he woke up feeling drained, as if the spirit had sapped his very life force. The Dybbuk box changed hands many times, with each new owner reporting the same ominous symptoms: unrelenting nightmares, accidents, and a pervasive, sickening dread. One owner even suffered a sudden stroke shortly after acquiring it, convinced that the spirit trapped within the box had cursed him. Eventually, the Dybbuk box was sealed away, kept hidden from curious eyes, locked behind glass to prevent anyone from releasing the evil within. It has since become a relic of fear, a cursed object housed with great caution. Paranormal researchers who dare to approach it claim to feel an intense pressure, as if the air around it is vibrating with a dark, pulsating energy, ready to burst forth at the slightest touch. Today, the Dybbuk box stands as a chilling reminder of forces beyond our understanding. Many believe that the box should remain sealed, for to open it is to invite disaster. The warnings are clear. Disturb the Dybbuk box, and you may awaken something ancient, vengeful, and impossible to escape. A spirit that seeks not just to haunt, but to possess and torment anyone who crosses its path. On December 17, 1967, Australian Prime Minister Harold Holt vanished without a trace while swimming off the coast of Cheviot Beach. The official story was that Holt had tragically drowned, overcome by the powerful currents of the ocean. But the legend of his disappearance is far darker and more mysterious than any simple drowning. For years, whispers circulated that Holt's disappearance was no accident. Some claimed that the currents, though treacherous, were not strong enough to pull a skilled swimmer like Holt under. Others suggested a far more sinister explanation. One of the most chilling theories, one that still lingers in the minds of many, was that Holt had been taken by a Chinese submarine. The idea was that Holt, involved in covert dealings and possibly acting as a spy, had been captured and whisked away to an uncertain fate beneath the waves. Those who subscribe to this theory believe that Holt's disappearance was part of a grander conspiracy, a secret operation that went unnoticed by the world. They argue that his sudden vanishing was too well timed, too deliberate. Some even claim that he had been seen in China in the years following his supposed death. But the ocean is a vast, unforgiving place, and the truth of Harold Holt's disappearance remains elusive. For decades, the sea has kept its secrets, and the only certainty is that Holt, a man once at the helm of a nation, simply vanished. Some say his spirit still wanders the dark depths of Cheviot Beach,